Carbon offsets are a fictitious commodity that have been created to exploit rising levels of climate consciousness. It's nonsense because you can't neutralize your emissions once they're out there. There's no magic wand that you can wave to make them go away. They're essentially selling a peace of mind to people to think they don't have to worry about the choices they make, which is very dangerous. It's continuing to overly emphasize the light bulbs and lifestyles discourse that is placing all of the responsibility on individual consumers. And I think personal lifestyles have a role to play in how we respond to climate change, but I think our choices as individuals are still very limited in the context of climate change without there being a more profound systemic change in the way we organize our societies and economies to meet the threat of the climate crisis. And I think the more emphasis we place on individuals, we're moving away from what really needs to happen in terms of people to come together in their communities, to start organizing, to create political pressure for the bigger systemic changes that need to happen in moving away from the growth-based model reigning in the corporate self-interest. Apart from anything, it doesn't make any kind of economic sense whatsoever, because when you give that money to an offset company, a proportion of that, no matter how small or big, is going to be taken up in terms of the executive salaries and the PR budgets and so on, which is incredibly ineffective. And you're much better off just giving that money directly to a project that's bringing about change in a very hands-on way, some progressive community-led renewables project, either here in the UK or in a southern country. It's a much more effective use of your money, and in doing so, you just see it as being a kind of voluntary tax that you're paying, rather than pretending that it's somehow neutralizing or affecting your emissions. It's just much a more commonsensical approach if it's only a question of money. But it should never just be a question of money. It should be a question of people being more empowered and engage in the issue in more proactive ways, through being involved in these projects directly themselves, or through supporting political organizing to bring about the bigger changes that need to happen. I can't stress enough how much I would advise people not to give their money to carbon offset companies. I don't see it as being a first step. I see it as being worse than nothing. We shouldn't have a peace of mind in the face of climate change. We need to make serious choices as individuals. We need to make, more importantly, choices in our communities. And more importantly still, we need to be working towards creating the more systemic changes that need to happen.